Welcome to Minnesota Vikings Chat, the weekly podcast of MinnesotaVikingsChat.com, featuring me, David Erickson, your host, and Rick Birmingham in Minneapolis. Hi, Rick.
Hello.
And Adrian Peterson in St. Paul. Hey, Adrian.
Adrian Perryman, close enough.
Same deal.
Peterson. Well, you got the moves at Peterson. I've seen you play football, so it's pretty close. And Danielle Pierce in Hudson, Wisconsin, enemy territory. How you doing, Danielle?
Good morning.
Good morning. Yes, it is morning. So all three of us guys play football together, so that's our common interest and sort of the perspective that we bring to this podcast every week. Danielle, in addition to being a huge Vikings fan, is a pop culture junkie. She's a fashion aficionado, which makes her particularly suited to be a guest this week because one of our top topics today is the potential new uniforms for the Vikings. And we'll also talk Greg Jennings, we'll talk the new helmet rule, Matt Cassel and Christian Ponder, Antoine Winfield, Brian Urlacher, so you want to stay tuned throughout. But let's start with the Minnesota Vikings. So the Vikings are there's rumors that the Vikings are going to be getting new uniforms. When Jennings was announced in uniform 15 on a tweet that the team sent out, and you can pre-order them, but you can't get them till April 1. So that's sort of the conspiracy theorist saying the Vikings are going to change their uniforms. And this sort of rumor's been flying around, but there's some logical reasons why they would do that with the new stadium in place, new draft coming up, so build some excitement with some new uniform. But we've had some artists create new conceptions of what the Viking uniforms might look like, and this is one of them. And I think it's sort of cool. What do you guys think?
I think they're all creative. I don't think they're ever going to go that extreme. I don't think any NFL team has really gone too crazy like the way sometimes baseball and basketball teams have done for like one game or the throwback ones. But it reminds me of Minnesota State Mankato, kind of. And I have noticed they have been using the MV logo in some of their Facebook advertising, so that might be some sort of a switch more than just the old Vikings font. But we'll see.
Yeah, this one particular
Danielle,
one that you have up on the screen right now just reads Blonde Monster to me. It's way too much yellow, and I know that they recently redesigned their logo, which the yellow now kind of has a bit more saturation to it, but this one is just too much yellow. I mean, we're the purple people eaters for a reason, and I think they need to incorporate a little more purple.
It's a little more goldish too, more sort of truer gold color than yellow they currently have.
Yep.
So the helmet's weird to a yellow helmet. Here's sort of another question. What do you think of that, Danielle?
Yeah, I could see something more like this. It's more traditional to what we're not maybe traditional, but what we've already had with the little accents of yellow and things, and more futuristic, if you will, but still relatable to the last few years.
Then we've got pewter and purple.
This is just aggressive. This makes me think of Oregon, and I kind of like it, but I do agree with Adrian that this is just way too big of a departure. They would never. I would be very shocked if they unveiled something this drastic.
They could wear them in Europe.
There you go.
I kind of like the M.
It's different. I don't know if I
like the M logo with the horns coming off the M.
Yeah, they already did the slight change to the logo. I don't think they're going to change it that extreme, make that big of a difference, because they slightly augmented the Viking head, is what I saw previously.
I'm not sure if they need the new uniforms this year, though, because we got all these Percy Harvin fans that have to buy new uniforms anyway. So.
Very true.
There's here's a fan-made uniforms that somebody sent to Joe Webb a while ago.
Yes,
that's pretty drastic.
The MV logo, which I've said Events by MV is my DJ company, so the MV is great. I stole that logo, made a little logo for my company. Of course, I can't use it because I don't want to get sued, but I like the MV on the chest.
I don't like it as much when they put number 5 on it. It makes me think of McNabb. Marketing 101.
Mistakes of the past. Yeah, and then lastly, here's our black and gold version. I've got a black and white Adrian Peterson jersey, like quite a bit, but yeah, I don't see him going this route either.
Yeah, my wife used to work at Goldie's locker room in one of the malls, and they had some Adrian Peterson shirts, and they had a mess-up one where it was they weren't supposed to sell, but it was black and purple, and she got me one. I really like it. The black and purple is an interesting look, but I don't know if they'd ever go that far either.
Here's the throwback jerseys. This is the Vikings historical jerseys throughout the ages, starting from 61 to 62. And through the ages, so that's sort of our look right now. I'm partial to the 62 away jerseys. I kind of the way they look. There's a close up. I just sort of like the gold outline against the white, sort of subtle. Am I off base, Danielle? Do I have a fashion sense?
I do enjoy these throwback ones, although, however, you know, I won't be born for, like, excuse me, another 15 years from your favorite, but, you know.
Yeah, well.
That was the jersey they wore when you went to the games as a child, David?
Huh?
Those were the jerseys they wore when you went to the games as a child?
A little pre my time, too. I wasn't watching the Vikings in 62, but I watch them on YouTube, so there's that. All right, so enough about jersey. We got Greg Jennings, and so last week we just signed him. Excitement in the air. We got a receiver who can do some things. Now we've had a chance to digest it and maybe look at some tape. So, Rick, how do you think Adrian? How do you think Grings is going to fit into the Vikings offense?
He has to beat man-to-man coverage, so people can't completely pile on Peterson. I think he'll be okay, but every clip I see of him, there's the deep threat of Rodgers throwing him the ball, and we do not have that. So it was a lot of money. I'm a little skeptical.
And he has had a recent injury history. So
I'm just looking forward I'm looking forward to the potential advertisements that we finally get a Viking and a TV advertisement, that they'll switch the Old Spice commercials up and use a Vikings jersey, because they're talking about last year how Adrian Peterson doesn't even have a shoe contract, and we have all these stars on the team with, other than some local advertisement for hot tubs or whatever else Ponder was doing, we don't get much press.
Is that Peterson's choice or because he's in Minnesota?
I forgot what it was.
Right. That's right. That's his car. Have you chat any of the clips of Jennings, Danielle?
I have not, no.
What's your take on Jennings' acquisition? Is he a good addition to the team?
I think so. I mean, obviously, when you look at who's Ponders had to throw to, which is virtually no one, this is definitely a good pick. So I'm excited. I don't harbor as much hate as maybe some fans when we pick up these Packers, you know. I think the tagline has been now we're the Purple Packer Eaters. But I'm excited. I'm all for creating a good team. So it'll be interesting to see what happens, considering his 2012 year wasn't that great. But it's another season.
Right. Well, Jerry Rice likes it. Jerry Rice thinks he's the best receiver pickup among the receivers that were dealt or signed during the free agency period. So even among Wallace and Percy Harvin, Rice thinks that Jennings was the best pickup for the team.
I think he's just a good person in general. He's not going to be on the headlines for breaking the law like some other Vikings players.
Yes.
He's always on TV with his family and kids and stuff like that. He's not going to be in Minneapolis nightlife till 2 a.m.
It's a great day to be great, though. I don't know.
Well, I saw some clips that watched some of his games in the latter part of when he returned from his injury, and he runs very precise routes. So definitely need that with Ponder. Get them a lot of practice together, get them on the same page, and be able to throw those outs before a receiver, a defender can do anything. And from what I've seen, he can beat man coverage. Of course, that depends on Ponder being able to get it to him deep, and I think that remains to be seen. I don't think Ponder's had a receiver that can get separation deep yet. So we'll see. He did mention some comments in an interview with Paul Allen recently, where he sort of slipped up and had to backtrack, where the question was about Matt Cassel and whether Matt Cassel poses serious competition to Christian Ponder, and he started out by saying, well, Christian needs to be confident. He should be confident. He's a good quarterback. But it's always good to have somebody breathing down your neck. So, does Cassel actually pose competition to Ponder? What do you think?
I think he does. He has the experience and ability, more experience than Ponder. So definitely, I think he has a chance to. They're not going to say he's going to be the potential starter, but I think he has a chance to after a few games, maybe.
So if Ponder falters early, we lose a couple of games early in the season. Danielle, should they put in Cassel?
Absolutely. I'm not probably Ponder's hugest fan, but I think that the Vikings are being very coy by saying that Cassel isn't coming in to essentially to be a starter.
Yeah. How about you, Rick? What do you think?
I think anybody's Ponder's competition right now. I mean, he also could get hurt. It could take one play. It could take preseason for Cassel to be in there. So,
and he's a newlywed now, so I think his head might, be in the clouds a little bit, still living off that.
Was that last year? Getting married in the middle of the season?
What's that?
Was that part of his problem last year, getting married in the middle of the season?
Yeah, well, he came across the river to Hudson to get married, and, last I heard that he could also be looking for houses in this neck of the woods.
So were you invited to the wedding out there in Hudson?
It was at the courthouse. Come on.
You just go down there if you want to see it.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
So I took a look at some of the Castle's footage from last year, a couple of games early in the season, one that he won against the Saints and a couple that he lost. And I think that we're not going to have the people who want Cassel in right now ahead of Ponder we're not going to get an upgrade. We're going to get pretty much the same thing. Does convert on third down a lot, not very accurate, not a strong arm, but the offense, Kansas City offense, when Cassel was playing, looks a lot like the Vikings offense last season. So I think that's part of it. Is he's sort of a system quarterback, and so we'll see. But it's interesting because it's Ponder's year to figure out whether he's the franchise quarterback or not, and he's got to do it early, I think. So we had a helmet rule change. The NFL decided that they're going to make it illegal for a offensive player or a defensive player in the open field to tackle leading with the crown of the helmet. And so the big question there is, does that affect, obviously, Adrian Peterson is a hard-charging running back, very physical running back. Does that affect the Vikings' running game? Rick, what do you think?
Not very much, no. I think it's a bigger deal how long they wait to blow the whistle. Like, that's when his fumbles happen. If they wait a few seconds when he's in the clutter, that's when he tends to fumble. It's also when he could break away. I think that's a bigger deal. It's a good rule, but it depends how much they want to enforce it, and I bet it's not very much.
Adrian?
Yeah, it was always, and when I played in college, I was a defensive player, and then when they made the rule about tackling, leading with your helmet on defense and throwing the flags, but then the offensive guy came and smacked you with his helmet, I think that was fair for many reasons. So I think it evens the playing field on tackling and running and the abilities of the guys. Then also for safety, I never understood why people enjoy going head-to-head and doing all that after seeing so many guys now not being able to walk down the stairs because of concussions and things like that, just keeping the players safer. It might adjust the game slightly. There might be less loud cracks in the stadium, but I think Adrian Peterson will still be able to get around guys and use his legs. Even use his legs more than his helmet, I think. He's still powerful enough to get through things, even standing upright.
Yeah, I don't recall any games where Adrian Peterson really ever did lead with his helmet, even in the open field. I remember him running over William Gay of the Steelers a couple of years ago, but I don't think he led with his helmet. I mean, it's sort of hard to lead with your shoulder and not not have your helmet in there, so there's that. But it's a good rule change, I think. Look at some of the Vikings, linebackers of old, and they've had hard times. So trying to make the game safer, and I'm fine with that. We've got Antoine Winfield sitting out there still, and I haven't heard anything of him visiting other teams. He apparently has had offers, and I can't imagine him not having people interested in him, but he's still out there. And so what do you think of the possibility of Antoine coming back?
I'd like to see him back, just having that experience and ability proven. I didn't really see him. He may have had more injuries as time went on, but when he was playing, which was the majority of the time, he had the ability to do a lot that other players do not.
Danielle, is he too old?
No, I don't think so. I think he's definitely proven himself, and I would love to see them come back to the table to see if they can negotiate something. I think that, especially, we have with players with Cassel and Jennings and all of that, I think that it would be really great to keep him around leadership-wise as well. So I would love if they could figure something out.
Rick, they've apparently Frazier and Winfield have had some discussions. Greenway is supposedly reaching out to him, so there is definitely interest. Question, I guess, of his pride and how much money. What do you think? You think the Vikings need him, or should we just stock up in the draft?
He would make a huge difference, but he'd make a huge difference this year, which is the year to figure out if Ponder's going to be the guy. So he should be on a playoff team that's in the run, and I don't know that that's us. If that doesn't work out, I would definitely. I mean, you can't give him $7 million a year. That's obvious. If they can make it happen, that'd be wonderful. But I don't blame him if he goes to somebody in contention, and I don't blame him if they don't pay him that much. So.
Yeah, we are definitely thin in the backfield position, but you're right. It is if Ponder doesn't work out this year, then we're in rebuilding mode for another couple of more years until we figure out who our quarterback is. So you got to manage the salary cap, and that's the business aspect of this game. So lastly, we've got rumors that, speaking of defense, we've got rumors that a former Bear who's out in the market right now is possible. It's possible we could go get him if we want him. Brian Urlacher. Adrian, what do you think of bringing Urlacher in?
Yeah, I've always I hate the Packers. If it came down to it, I'd cheer for the Bears if the Vikings are out of the playoffs. My dad's from Chicago, so I'm fine with them. So I don't have any animosity towards the Bears, really. And it seems like when players get in that situation where they've been with the team for a long time and they don't want them back, like Favre, they have that chip on their shoulder. They want something to prove. So I think he still has it, and he'll have that drive if we get him or whoever gets him, because he wants to show the Bears, you messed up, you should have signed me, and especially when he plays against them.
I don't think we should be entertaining him at all. When you're making more headlines in People.com than you are sports publications in the last 2 years, then
might bring Jenny McCarthy to a game or something. You never know. They might.
Yeah, well, yeah, you guys would probably all really like that, but.
Good point. So, do you think he can cover the middle the way the Vikings need their middle linebacker to cover the middle, Rick? I mean, Jasper Brinkley didn't really get it done last year.
I was going to say, I'm sure he can fill Jasper Brinkley's shoes, but we may be looking for more than that. Yeah. We have 2 first-round picks in the second rounder. I suspect we'll get somebody in the draft. He's better than the complete vacuum. It's probably Aaron Henderson in there now. He's probably better than that, but I don't see much future with that project. We'll see.
Yeah, I think if they do bring him in, they're going to bring him in after the draft, and if there's nobody else out there and they're not, it'll be as late as possible if they bring him in. It'll be as a veteran mentor to whoever they draft as a middle linebacker. So among those people is Manti Te'o. Should the Vikings go after draft Te'o as their middle linebacker in the future? What do you think, Adrian? You're smiling.
It's just, he's had a fascinating. So I learned more about him towards the end of the season than any of his previous career stuff. I don't watch much college football, probably because Minnesota doesn't have much going usually, so it doesn't intrigue me. But it'd be interesting headlines to get him around here. But he seemed to be a great player. He kind of bombed in the combine, but it's just that sort of the mental aspect of him going through that stuff. How intelligent is he? How focused is he? Those sort of things that really kind of pulled me back from wanting him as a player.
Yeah, unfortunately, his combine debut did not seem to bode well for him. So I think that there's still a lot of baggage that would come with him. So if he did, we'd probably need his PR team with him too.
I was going to say, Danielle, what are the PR implications of
Well, clearly, there's still a lot going on. And unfortunately, as we just said, I don't really know if he proved his talent worthy of combine. But however, people are entitled to off days. But man, I would think that those headlines would be way more focused and jabbing at him about his personal life than they would his talent. And going into the season, you want headlines all about your talent.
I suspect that his off the field baggage is going to cause a lot of people to give them an excuse to pass on him, and I wouldn't be surprised if he falls. It's also the 4.8 40 doesn't bode well for the Vikings needing a deep cover middle linebacker. Exactly. So let's wrap it up. I'm David Erickson, the host of this podcast and publisher of Minnesota Vikings Chat.com. Rick, tell everybody about Neighbors Inc. and what your needs are over there.
We are a social service agency in South St. Paul, and it's Minnesota Food Share Month. So we've got a food shelf. We serve about 400 families a month, and we are desperately seeking food. Canned meats, chilies, anything you've got. We would love donations wherever you are. This would be a great month to give to your food shelf.
And how can people give? How do they get a hold of you to give?
NeighborsMN.org.
All right, very good. Danielle, PR professional extraordinaire over at Thunheim. Danielle, what are you working on these days, and how can people get a hold of you? You need some Twitter followers.
Well, these days actually working on the Twins home openers, so hoping that these temps heat up and we have a great kickoff to the Twins season. So there's going to be a couple new things going around Target Plaza, so you'll have to look for that in the coming days, but that's kind of been the latest in my realm. You can follow me on Twitter at dpierce915. Otherwise, the best way to probably get a hold of me is through my email at Thunheim, which would be dpierce@thunheim.com.
Very good. Thanks for joining us. And
thank you for having me. It was fun.
Adrian, this week.
Yeah, the talked about last week. The fun part of my job is the DJ life. I do work in higher education as well, but I think I showed my website last week, but my Facebook page as well. I talked about that I stole the logo of the Vikings and utilized that on there. So I might put that on a T-shirt or something, but I can't use it too much or else they'll sue me. But if you have any questions, you can definitely check out my Facebook page, facebook.com/eventsbymv, or my website for your DJ needs for birthday parties, weddings, funerals, all the above, whatever you may want.
Very good. And we're planning a music episode sometime in the near future, which Adrian will obviously be a major towards, so look for that. You can follow Minnesota Vikings Chat on Twitter at MNVikingChat. Use Vikings hashtag to talk about the show, or during games we have discussions of Vikings, so Vikings Chat hashtag, use that. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/Minnesota Vikings Chat, and you can reach me at david@minnesotavikings.com, and this is a wrap.
Thanks for watching this podcast. So, what do you think? Should the Vikings get new uniforms? What did you think of the design concepts that we showed during the show? Greg Jennings, how's he going to fit in to the Vikings offense? How are the Vikings going to utilize him? Will he help Ponder's performance? And should Vikings be starting Cassel? Is he a serious threat to Ponder? Is he pose competition to Ponder? Winfield, should we re-sign him? Should we bring him back in? How much is he going to cost? Is he worth it? Is he too old? Urlacher, should Vikings go after Urlacher and bring him on the team as a veteran mentor to whoever we draft? And should we be drafting? Should be looking at Manti Te'o as a draft prospect in the first round or not? Leave your comments below on what you think, and if you like this, like the video, share it with all your friends, and be sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any more of these podcasts. And again, thanks for watching.